dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
Once again from Amano Boarding and Day School. This is our online school, and I'm going to present, we're going to have an online tutorial for grammar form 2. Remember, it is continuation of conditionals. We had a lesson for zero conditional, we had a lesson for first conditional, and today we are going to have a lesson for second conditional. Now look at this. Now meet Jane. I want us to just compare the first conditional and second conditional. Meet Jane and John. They are about to get married, but John has arrived at the wedding looking like this. Get the students to make, you see, now you need to describe what John would have to do to make Jane happier. Okay, students, you need to figure out what you think John should do, what you think John would have done to make Jane happier instead of coming dressed like this. If he took off his sunglasses, he would look much better. Jane would really appreciate if John shaved. Now, let's go to objectives. Now, what are we supposed to learn today? Define the conditionals and correctly use the second conditional. We already know what are conditionals. We did that in the past 2 lessons. So we need to define conditionals and correctly use the second conditional, and also define the second conditional. Definitions. Now the second conditional, which is also called conditional type 2, is a structure used for talking about unreal situations. So this is the keyword, unreal situations in the present or in the future. So it could be in the present or in the future. Unreal means they are not real situations. The second conditional is used to imagine present or future situations that are impossible or unlikely. Impossible or unlikely in reality. So unreal, impossible, or almost unlikely to happen. So for example, if we had a garden, we could have a cat. You see, if we had a garden, this is not possible because we don't have a garden. If we had a garden, so this means, in this sentence, it means that we don't have a garden. That means we cannot have a cat, so it is impossible. If I won a lot of money, I will buy a big house in the country. If I won, I have not won any money, so that is unreal situation. I wouldn't worry if I were you. There is no way I can be you. So that is another. Again, it is unreal. Now, the structure of the second conditional. You need to grasp this and grasp it well, because this is what differentiates the second conditional with the first conditional. Now, there is the if clause. Now, this the conditionals they have the same structure in terms of they have two clauses, the first and second. So the if clause and the outcome clause, we learned that in the previous lesson. So if clause, if I had $1 million, I would buy a big house. Now remember one thing important: if the if clause begins, there must be a comma before the next clause. Okay, if the let's go back. Go back. Yes. If I were you, I will drive more carefully in the rain. So you see, if you begin the clause with, this is what I was explaining. If you begin the sentence with the if clause, there must be a comma before the next part of the sentence. So if I were you, I will drive more carefully in the rain. I am not you. This is unusual or unreal. Paula will be sad if Jan left. Jan will not leave, so that's not going to happen. If dogs had wings, they will be able to fly. We know that dogs don't have wings, so that is impossible. And these sentences explain clearly that the second conditional is used to talk about things which are unreal, not true, not possible in the present or future. Remember that it is in the present or in the future. Things which don't or won't happen. Now this is an example. We would learn a lot from dolphins if they could talk. If they could talk. Now look at this sentence. We did not begin with the if clause. We did not begin with the if clause, and that is why there is no comma. So if you begin with the second part, which had would and a verb, then we don't need to use a comma. So example, if we would learn, if we would learn a lot from dolphins, we would learn a lot from dolphins if they could talk. Now look at this. This is a comparison of three conditionals. The next lesson we're going to learn about the third conditional. So you need to have a glimpse of the third conditional. If I study, I will pass. That is first conditional. If I study, I will pass. Second conditional. If I studied, I would pass. So this is impossible because I did not study. So it is second conditional. The third conditional, if I had studied, I would have passed. If I had studied, I would have passed. So already this person has failed because they did not study. If you do it again, I'll call the police. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. So you see, these are examples of first conditional. If I were you, there is no way I can be you. So there is unreality. Now, first versus second conditional. If John runs fast, he will win the race. This is still possible to happen if John runs fast. He has not ran already. So if he does run fast, he will win the race. So that one is first conditional. Look at the second one. If John ran fast, he would win the race. So this is not possible because John did not run fast. So it is second conditional. And that is the main difference between the two, those two conditionals. Now the difference of first and second conditional is both conditionals they refer present and future. That is one thing that is common. The difference is about probability, not time. First conditional, real and possible situation, while in second conditional there is unlikely, the situations are unlikely to happen or they are unreal. So this is just a clear explanation of the picture we have just seen. The difference is that the first conditional describes something that is possible or it could really happen, but the second conditional describes something that is possible but will almost certainly not happen. Very hard for it to happen. So that is the main difference. Now, as we wind up this lesson, I would like us to watch this video. It's a video about second conditional. So just listen to it and it will make sense about what we have just learned.
If I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you a house. I would buy you a house. And if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, buy you furniture for your house, maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman. And if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you a K car, a nice reliant automobile. And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million, I'd build a tree fort in our yard. If I had $1 million, you could help, it wouldn't be that hard. If I had $1 million, maybe we could put a little tiny fridge in there somewhere. We could just go up there and you have open the fridge and stuff. There are already foods laid out for us, little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon. Can you blame them? Oh, yeah. If I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you a fur coat, but not a real fur coat, that's cruel. And if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you an exotic pet, yep, like a llama or an emu. And if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains and all them crazy elephant bones. And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love.
Very good. You can continue watching that as you conclude your lesson, and watch the whole video. Now, there is an assignment that is attached to your account. Please make sure that you do that assignment and do it carefully, and don't forget to submit. For my students in Form 2, Amano Boarding and Day School, I would like to remind you that there is an exam next week. Next week is exam week. We know that from our calendar of events. So make sure that you revise for the exams and what we have been doing during all this time that we've been at home. So please take care of yourselves, and see you next time. Thank you.